All right. Okay. Here we are with the PM show with with me and Matt, and our special guest is hopefully a fellow Mythoverse creator, Vile Delinquent.
Nice to meet you, all of you.
Hey everyone. Who's
Hey. Yeah. Okay. This is weird, Matt, because on the screen I'm seeing the new Macy avatar, but it still has your old one.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Thanks, Google.
Shows up on the feed, but doesn't show up in the Hangout. What is up with that?
I don't know. It seems like
Who cares?
it seems like they're just really stupid.
I guess so. Yeah, all right. So I guess you guys can consider this not just a PM show; it's also a bit of an interview for Vile because he has an idea he wants to pitch into the Mythoverse.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Matt, sorry, I'm sorry. No, that was my bad. Why don't you take the floor since this is your idea?
Oh well, it's still not fully developed. I want to make that clear. It's a relatively young, maybe a year old, something like that. And so you know how that can be if you're a writer, which obviously we all are. But I was watching a lot of X-Files and slasher movies at the time, back and forth, and I got to thinking of if there really was a bunch of slashers like Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees and such, surely there'd be somebody like some sort of task force or something designed to apprehend like these sort of, I guess you could call them super killers or something like that. Whatever.
Yeah. This sounds a little bit like Hack Slash, but with a different angle.
I don't know what Hack Slash is. That's
Hack Slash was a comic series that was, I think it was done by Devil's Due, and then it moved over to Top Cow. It was about this chick named Cassie Hack and her sidekick Vlad. Well, not her sidekick, her partner Vlad. The two of them would basically just travel the countryside, and they'd go around killing slashers, which in their universe were basically undead revenants who came back to kill with a purpose. And there was like a lot of, it was kind of like half homage, half satire of the slasher genre, because like for one, Vlad looks like I mean, there's no debate. Vlad definitely looks like he's supposed to be a Jason Voorhees knockoff.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess it would somewhat be some. I always thought of it more like if I were having to pitch it in like just a few words, I always thought of it more like, I guess I'd say Men in Black with horror characters instead. I hate to say it like that, but like I said, still early in it, and like that would be in my initial thing. It's something similar to that, but it wouldn't just focus solely on slasher characters. It'd be a bunch of other sort of these supernatural sort of, not necessarily just supernatural either. I just these sort of characters. I feel like it would start off, it'd have an overarching story, but I know it would start off with like a monster of the week style thing, and like the first arc would be like would be very monster of the week, like I said, and it wouldn't necessarily just focus on like Jason Voorhees knockoffs. Like I don't want to say what I would have in mind that they would go after just yet, but I guess I can give one away of like I like this idea of this artificial intelligence that's like able to transfer from different computerized devices and such, and gets control of those. And I like this idea of it like harvesting humans and like cutting up. This is a horror, keep in mind. So, but like chopping off chunks of meat and like sticking it onto its computer body to try and become like an organic being. So you just have this sort of mechanical, computerized abomination wandering around with chunks of meat hanging off of it. And I thought that'd be one of the things they would go after.
That does sound pretty gnarly.
Yeah. And it wouldn't just be like two people or anything like that. It would be like a whole full organization because I really like the idea of how would you in a world where you have these sort of supernatural, a lot of them are supernatural sort of killers, you know, and like how would you as a government, how would it operate dealing with these sorts of things? So this is like this whole special organized group, government organization designed to take these beings on, you know, and they have their own special prison for keeping them intact. They have like they use real world guns like that a lot of people don't know about, like the double barreled 45. I always thought would be like their standard issue, but then they'd have a secondary, which is like what's it, a 4570 government, I think it is. Yeah, a 4570 government revolver or something, which is like the most powerful pistol on the planet. They'd have that as a secondary weapon. They'd use quicksilver ammo, and you know, they have all sorts of different means of imprisoning things. Like, because I always like the idea of how would you actually deal with an unkillable, immortal super killer? You know, like how would you obviously can't kill him, so you need to find a way to, you know, imprison him and things like that. And it would have it would be really heavily built around all that. And then it would eventually, I know, like, because it would take place and it's in a fictional country, a fictional island country. And yeah, it would eventually lead to sort of, you can't help but it has to, you got to ask, why is all this happening? So I always figured it would eventually lead to some sort of Lovecraftian nightmare or something haunting the land.
Interesting. Okay, is that more or less your elevator pitch?
Well, I wouldn't call it an elevator pitch because it's way too long. It needs to be way more streamlined. But yeah, more or less, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so did Matt explain to you like how? I mean, you want this? You were thinking about attaching this to the Mythoverse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, initially, like, because unlike the rest of my stories, this is something that I think could be in a shared universe. It was initially designed to be something that could exist alongside or in the same universe as Empyrean Skies, but much further in the past behind it. And so because of that, yeah, I think like it could easily be placed into the what's it called, the Mytho universe.
We call it the Mythoverse, but yeah, like, because that's the one that's got my book Changeling, Matt's Mythics, and Dan's Adobe Kroger.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It could. I think it could fit in there. I don't. You know, I obviously haven't read all of that.
Well, none of them have been published yet. We haven't. We're still working on finishing them up, but we have kind of more or less settled on what the rules of our universe are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I'd love to hear them. Yeah.
Yeah. So did Matt? So like, how much of it did Matt reveal to you?
Not much, really. He told me that the Lovecraftian angle could possibly work alongside it.
Well,
and
keep going.
And he told me that, and he told me that there were going to be, as far as I can understand it, two sides to it, a spiritual side and a more like planes of existence. I mean, instead of doing a multiverse, it'd be a planes of existence, and one would be like a spiritual side, and the other would be like a more like our side, our plane of existence.
Oh, I said we had multiple planes of existence.
Yeah. Yeah, well, like I said, I may have misunderstood. You know, I didn't get all the finer details. So
I wouldn't even say it's like multiple planes of existence. It's more. I would say it's more like they're different realms, and like the best way I could describe the Mythoverse is it is Jungian in its function. Are you familiar with the work of Are you familiar with Carl Jung at all?
Shared it or thought space.
Carl,
things like that.
the collective
Like,
unconscious.
yes, I'm aware of it. What do they call it? Yeah, I have a friend because I always for Empyrean Skies I always call it the shared inner thought space. But yeah, collective unconsciousness. I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah, that's more or less how it operates. Like each of the each of the supernatural realms are sort of formed by different aspects of the human psyche, such as you have the Fey realm, which is formed by dreams and imagination. You have the spirit realm, which is tied to emotions, and you have the gods realm, which is tied to belief. You have the demon realm, which is tied to the worst aspects of humanity, obviously.
Right. So let me ask you this, because obviously y'all know what I'm really pushing. I'm doing a bad job at it right now, but with the comic I'm really pushing right now is Empyrean Skies, and that deals exclusively with aliens. There are no humans in it. So how do aliens fit into that? How do y'all make it fit into it?
So, you're gonna need to repeat that to me, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just asking, how do aliens fit into this setup?
I don't think we planned for aliens. Like it was gonna. I think we kind of planned on it being strictly supernatural. As far as I know, unless did we have plans for aliens, Matt?
Not of yet. But, I guess anything's possible in the future.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that could be set up in that sort of because like I said, I don't explore it as deeply as what y'all did in Empyrean Skies. I keep it just because for that story, but I do deal with it in there. Um, so yeah, like I think you could fit aliens in there with with some thought in there.
Well, I guess if I kind of more or less did rip the idea off from Warhammer 40K, but yeah, and Warhammer 40K has aliens.
Mm. Hmm. I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't have a good gaming PC. I need to get one. So
It's more of a tabletop game. It's a war game.
what
It's
am I thinking of?
notorious for having expensive ass miniatures.
What am I thinking of? Warhammer. That ain't a PC game.
It has PC games, but it's not like there's Dawn of War, there's Space Marine, there's quite a few video games of it, but it's primarily known as being a tabletop war game.
Okay. Oh, might have to suggest that to my brother. But anyways, back on topic. But yeah, that's the long and short of it for mine. I have a lot of finer details like the prison, the way they have the prison set up, and uh I have a few ideas of like have y'all ever heard of if you played Silent Hill then you should have heard of it. Something called a Glophitus, I think it is. It's a hard word to pronounce and spell.
Off the top of my head, no.
It's a because Silent Hill they based a lot of it on real occultism, and a Glophitus is supposed to be a substance made from flowers or something, and it's meant to forcibly excise anything like evil within anything that it comes in contact with. So I sort of use that as well. Like, they use the Quicksilver ammo, but they also use a lot of Aglophidus. They sort of laminate. They laminate the cells with the stuff. They have some special ammo that's laminated in the stuff and things like that. So, that's one of the ways that they deal with these sort of things, and they'll have their agents, which I need to get back to because I sort of stopped researching for a while. But their agents, which they have them take everybody who works there has to take like an Aglophidus pill, like once a month to keep all evil, any sort of evil, out of them completely. Which, if I guess if I really wanted to, I could get pretty controversial with that idea. But that's how they deal with things like dream based super killers like Freddy Krueger or something like that, because they can't get into their minds while they're sleeping because they've got a Glophodus in their systems.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess another thing I would like to know is like, seeing as how they're going to deal with like slashers and such, like, is there going to be like an element of homage or satire to this?
Um, I wouldn't really call it satire because I don't know, because I have and I mean I like that genre ironically as well, but like the majority of my love for that uh genre is very genuine, and that and the fact that it really interests me, the idea of like, if this sort of thing was real, how could you believably deal with that sort of issue? What would be the cause of it? And so, it's not, it doesn't take itself super seriously. I wouldn't call it satire either, because also I'm just not a very good satirist as well. So,
Oh, look, that's not bad at all. I mean, so it's more like it's going to be play. I mean, like I said, if there's a mod, it's going to be. It's not coming at it from It's not coming at it from a cynical point of view. It's coming at it from a more genuine one.
yes, it's a much more genuine, much more genuine. I mean, there are a few homages in there. I do like the idea of I do hang on my phone, sorry, but I do like the idea of I do want an homage for a Pumpkinhead in there because I think he's such an underrated character. But by and large, it is mostly going to be uh, very genuine. I want every villain in there. I want every monster of the week sort of thing in there to be original and feel like that could have its own actual movie. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it satire for that reason.
I guess that's probably good. I mean, like, man, I definitely agree. Like, there's a little bit too much irony in today's pop culture.
Yeah, it's a big problem, I think. I think I ranted about that on Twitter a couple months ago. So,
What was going to be your take there, Matt?
Oh, just agreeing that irony is used a lot more than it should be.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like some. Yeah. 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 That's I can definitely say that. I mean, like, I definitely think that there's room in our universe for slashers, but yeah, it's sure. I mean, like I said, we did not plan for anything that gets like out into like becomes that's like science fiction, like with aliens or shit.
mm-hmm.
Not saying that it's off the table, just that it wasn't anything we planned on.
Well,
but
excuse me.
Because, like I said, like the way the supernatural stuff works in this universe is like it's all tied to humanity's collective unconscious. And not only that, though, there's also sort of a bit of a, I guess you could say, sort of a karmic system with the supernatural too, because we came up with this system to explain like how monsters, like say, how things like vampires or werewolves could exist. Like these were caused by people trying to sort of manipulate the supernatural more than they should, and so it fucks them up in response. It's kind of like how when you try to control nature, it just ends up acting against you, and there's disastrous consequences.
That actually, since you mentioned that, I will. That works even better because I want to try and keep most of the stuff, what's the word? A surprise. But I will say, I do intend for the second monster of the week to be my brother came up with the idea, a werebear. And I don't mean like a man who turns into a bear. I mean a bear who's gotten bit by a werewolf and becomes like this super beast on the full moon. So I think that would I think that since y'all have an explanation for werewolves, that's just an added bonus. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because we had to think that was something that was kind of made at the spur of the moment, more or less. Because I had to think to myself, okay, we have an explanation for how all the other supernaturals work, but But are we going to have a universe that has like classic monsters in it too, or are we going to ignore it, not just use them at all, or do they play by different rules? And then I just thought to myself, you know what? Like, wouldn't it just make sense that these are created by people trying to manipulate by humans trying to manipulate forces that are beyond their control and things, and it's like it also has that added subtext of there are things that man should not tamper with.
yeah, but where does that leave Lovecraftian sort of beings?
Now that's actually I think Matt and I had a bit of a back and forth earlier today about that. It's possible it could fit into something like it could be something like a demon realm, like out of the demon realm, because like there are Lovecraftian gods like Nyarlathotep that have more of a malevolent, have more malice in their character. Because Nyarlathotep, he is one of those Lovecraftian gods that if he wanted to, he could destroy humanity, and he doesn't because we just amuse him too much. He's like I've heard him described as like the perfect cross between the Joker and Satan.
Well,
but then you get into other ones like Cthulhu, whom are more ambivalent towards us. Like to them, we're not worth even giving attention. They treat us like how humans treat ants. They're not worth their time.
Well, I thought, because I've always liked this sort of spin. So I put a sort of spin on my Lovecraftian sort of style, because I always thought it'd be a bit more frightening if you had this sort of Lovecraftian being who he wasn't ambivalent towards people, like, the typical, Cthulhu mythos, but rather, I always thought it would be more frightening if you had this Lovecraftian being who was able to, who, unlike Cthulhu, but he was actually hyper concerned with every individual person, because that would be much scarier. I always thought. Like, imagine having this being who just like of such immense power beyond our comprehension, and yet instead of just ignoring us, he was concerned with every single action we took and every thought we had. And so I think that might be
what would be his reason for being so concerned with humanity? Like, what is he? Does he consider them a problem? Does he consider it his job to dish out justice or something? What's his deal?
I'm still working on all of that, because obviously I have a few ideas, but I don't want to reveal too much in public. So I'd like to, but why he would be so interested, I couldn't say. Like, not if he's going to be like an antagonist. I couldn't say why he would do it, but I've always liked that sort of idea of like turning it on its head. So that's something, like I said, it's still early in the development because, it's still a young story, and with Empyrean Skies, I haven't had much time to actually flesh it out a whole lot. But that is kind of where I'm leaning towards with this, because I can't think of. I'm thinking maybe it would be revenge. And I don't want to say much more than that in public right now. So
That's
but I'm thinking it would be
understandable.
much more towards. I'm leaning towards it will probably be like towards revenge or something like that. So
Okay, so Matt, where do you think this fits in, like demon realm or God's realm?
that's the thing. I don't know just yet. He's like I said, it's still because it's so early. I'm still developing it. Um, and most usually when I go Lovecraftian like that, I usually just keep it ambiguous. Um, just because that's typically how it is. You wouldn't be able to comprehend them. But if I were to where would something bent on revenge?
Well,
Where
then
would
again,
he, fit
well,
in?
well, that's why I'm asking, Matt. Like,
Yeah.
does this fit in more with God's realm or demon realm? Because I can honestly feel one or the other. Because this could be
Yeah,
like
well, I mean, you could make because here's the thing that I'm thinking right now with him is you could the way what it is so far that I've gotten in my head right now is it would be revenge and it would be but here the thing is that it would be like understandable why he would want revenge but then he goes and he always of course he takes it too far and a lot of innocent people start suffering so I don't know where he would fit in that um but if he's like producing these sort of super killers, these slashers and such, maybe he'd fit in with dreams too. So that could probably be, yeah. If it maybe he fits in with dreams because like you don't necessarily have to be demon or god or whatever to want vengeance, but if the like if he's producing these supernatural killers and also like other ones like this AI, this artificial intelligence and such, you could argue and say that he's from like the dream part.
maybe, I don't know. It seems like I could also easily see this as sort of fitting in like the because like I said, the demon realm, demons are sort of created from the worst aspects of humanity. So if he's going, so if his modus operandi is revenge, then you could see him as like a perversion of justice. Because it's on,
Yeah, yeah.
because there's lots of stories that talk about how blurry the line between justice and revenge is.
I'd have to, yeah, because that's true too. I'll have to put some more thought into it. Like I said, I need to keep reminding people this is still early in the development. I
I
have the
understand.
main characters and things. I have a good deal of it done, developed, but I still have a lot more that still needs to be developed. So
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, like, I understand that. Like, nothing, you got nothing set in stone at the moment. So,
mhm.
like, like, as far as what you've got, what do
Main
you have
character.
completed what do you have completed like so far? Like, are we talking like, say, are we talking like, say, hey, do you have like a character Bible? Do you have like do you have like,
Well, I don't really have much of anything because I wasn't going to do much with it for a couple years until this came up. But
okay.
I do have in my head I still got in my head I got the main characters down. I got a few of the villains down. I've got generally in very broad strokes, I've got how they deal with things. I've got this I don't have a name for the country yet, but I do know it'll take place in a fictional country where um, somehow Hispanics and Irish ethnicities sort of, inhabit the same land, and it's a island nation in the shape of a ring, and it's so in the center of it is just this massive sea, and like the prison would be this sort of it would be in the very center of this sea and it would be like a little town on like what would look like just a massive oil rig, like this artificially built platform, and that's where all the residents and stuff and the agents live. And then it has an elevator that leads to where those elevators that go sideways at an angle, a Funieri system, something like that. I can't remember the word for it, but it would basically lead down to all the way to the seafloor, go beneath the seafloor, then go further down underground, and underneath that would be the prison system where they are kept. With the logic being overkill is best for dealing with these sorts of beings. So that would be the prison system. How they deal with these sorts of things is worked out. The two main characters, they're not fully developed, but I've got them. I've got their foundation set for them, and that's about it right now.
Okay, so what you've got right now is just more of a rough idea of what you want this to be, and so.
Yeah, and if that's why I'm talking with y'all too, because one, it can easily be part of a shared universe, but two, since since I would like it to be part of a shared universe, I would, obviously, a lot more needs to be worked out with it, which is why I don't usually have a brainstorm with people, but I do want to get this ready for to be part of a shared universe. So I think it'd be a good idea to throw around some ideas with some people and see what we can build up.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure where Changeling can crossover with this, but Matt, you can definitely see this working with Mythics, can't you?
Yeah, I can actually.
So like
Tell me about.
Sorry, take the floor, Matt.
All right. So, what do you want to know?
Just generally, you've never actually told me everything about Mythics, and with everything going on in Comicsgate, I haven't. It's been difficult to pay attention, So
Yeah. Well, there seems to be something going on every 5 minutes, but
yeah, no kidding.
yeah, but basically, the story surrounds a woman named Elfia Fletcher and her familiar spirit, Skeleton. And basically, they go around taking up jobs, getting rid of supernatural creatures from certain areas, such as they'll get called in to deal with a ghost. Others, they'll have to deal with a pixie infestation. Or you have the malevolent spirits, such as its brigand, pop up and needs to get out of there. But basically, initially it's going to be shown her to be more relying on what's available in our world, but because of the whole thing going on with Dan's Adobe Kroger, where they've got this group called Paladins who will try to force you into service if they find out you can use magic. So, she carries a lot of different weapons that will allow her to damage supernatural creatures, such as she's got a Jericho 941 and an assortment of iron, steel, and iron, lead, and silver bullets, as well as some close quarter weapons during the cases where the client does not want anything damaged. She'll interact with a bunch of creatures from mythology. Yes.
Oh no, I was about to say, yeah, it sounds like it could fit in perfectly. I know in my story, when it comes to, I've been trying to figure out how they would deal with like ghosts and stuff, like something from The Ring or Juon or something like that. And I always figured, like, I always had the idea that they would call in a specialist for that sort of thing. So that actually, and I always figured the specialist would be freelance. So that actually, it's sounding like the two can mesh together really well so far. I didn't mean to interrupt, though. I apologize. Continue.
All right. Sorry. Well, that's there is a organization that Althea reports to. They're called Mythics, and it's basically an organization that's set up in the spirit realm. That's the reason why she's got a familiar spirit. And one of the, even though she has the ability to use magic, it's kept locked by her familiar to keep it from actually accidentally going off when she's just in case something does happen and she inadvertently uses magic. So basically, there's different levels of unlocking for her, which the first level would be spells that could enhance her combat abilities, make her faster, stronger, or even make something that's normally not dangerous. Then you've got the second level, which is elemental magic, which basically allows her to manipulate the elements. And the third level would be more of a universal kind of magic, where she delves into spells where it can manipulate basically anything that can, and essentially she's become something of a walking weapon of mass destruction, such as using magic that manipulates the fields of the universe, which one of them being electricity, she could use to disrupt a ghost or anything around, or any kind of supernatural creature she comes across. So that one is something that is meant to be never released unless there's a need for it.
She sounds like much more of a superhero than the characters in mine, who are just specially trained. They're specially trained agents, but they're not superheroes. I play them off much more like, I guess you could say, the main character. He's inspired by my dad. But the main character, I guess you could say he's more like a Dirty Harry, and there are two main characters. I'm sorry. His partner is just like the rookie, but they have really big guns, essentially, really big real world guns, and their main concession is that because of how much damage one of these super killers can do in such a short amount of time, they are essentially, while on duty, they are above the law to do whatever they can to capture or or neutralize or kill, preferably, the beings that they're chasing. But they're like, your character sounds much more superhero, which is that's great.
Well,
yes, because they would need to call in specialists for certain things. So it sounds like it's fine.
Yeah, well, she's not really a superhero. For the most part, it'll be a very rare occurrence that she uses magic.
All right. So, yeah, that's basically my very short. That's my short elevator pitch, I guess, for it. And the working title, I'm not sure right now, but the working title right now is Divine Structure. So that's my pitch for it right now, though.
That sounds good. Or do you have any ideas about the characters?
I have an idea for the two main characters. The first main character, I should say, is he's basically, I've always wanted to put my dad in a story, so he's inspired by him. He's just I know I got a general idea of his background, which was he used to run moonshine back in the day, before he got brought on board. And so everybody calls him by that nickname, Moonshine or Mooney. He's a family man, uh, and he's a gun nut. It's not brought up in the story, but I always think of these for my characters as asides. So he's very much more right wing. Um, and the other main character is the rookie, because you kind of need that to introduce all these ideas to the reader. And she's this Hispanic girl, the Spanish girl who ended up somehow miraculously surviving one of these encounters with these super killers. And Mooney thought she did really, really well, so uh, he he's the one who brings her on board and trains her personally, and she ends up being his partner. So those are the two main characters right off the bat. I haven't settled on a name uh, for her yet. I'm thinking, though, I've always liked the name. I've always liked the names Esmeralda and Marisol, the Spanish character, but I'm not certain yet.
Yeah, I can. There's a website that there's a website I like to use when I'm trying to grab in names for my characters. Matt, I will link it to you to link it to the file. Give me a sec. Actually,
Okay.
no. Hold up. Where did I put it? I have a file for this. There it is. Found it.
Actually, something, you could probably link it to Vile in the group chat in here.
That's a much better idea. That's actually a better idea. Hold on, let me just hook up my mouse.
Yep.
And then I just.
Well, I've actually got a character naming source book.
Really?
I just have a website I go to. It's called behindthename.com. Has pulls a lot of different name origins. Kind of gives a rough idea of what they mean. Really good place to look.
Oh man, I wish I'd known about that.
I kind of stumbled into it, to be honest.
Well, you might want to check references of bookstores for where they got writing reference books. Sometimes they'll have some really good books on for building a story or characters.
Oh, here we go. Look at this. Oh wow. I wish I'd known about this. I've been struggling to come up with names on my own this whole time. I'm sorry. I'm looking through this now. Actually, so.
Yeah, but it's a really useful website to have. If I have that thing, I would bookmark that if I were you.
Yeah, I like that Africa is a Spanish woman's name.
It's probably in the pronunciation, to be honest.
I'll ask. Oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I wish I had known about this long ago.
Like I said, I found this one by accident. But yeah, it's help. Yeah, like I said, that thing could be a really big help.
Yeah, I'm saying, look at that. I didn't know Amanda's a Spanish name. Man, I'm learning stuff too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. So so here's a question. Is there anything else you have to bring up?
In regards to divine structure,
Yeah. Yeah, or just like how if it's how it would work with the larger universe as well.
Well, I'm still getting a grasp on everything. For y'all's main universe. So right off the bat, let's see here.
You know, man, I'm starting to think it might help us a big deal if we like wrote out like an almanac or something for this.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'd need a lot more. I wouldn't say a lot more, but like as much detail as like y'all can write down or whatever about your universe would be hugely helpful.
Yeah, we do have that Google document we were working on, don't we?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, if y'all want, that's up to y'all if y'all want to share that or whatever. But yeah, it would be a huge help because so I could read through it and such. And I also just like learning about that stuff in and of itself as well. So yeah, but the more that I'm able to like dig through the little details and such, the better I'll be able to build the. That's why I thought this story would work so well with a shared universe too. Another reason I should say is because it's so young that it can still be shaped to fit into that, a shared universe.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all got something that I can look at or read over during the Thanksgiving weekend, that will be a huge help.
Yeah, yeah. I think we can link Matt. You can link him the document, can't you?
Just send it to me in a DM because that way I'll have quicker I'll have access to it at any time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about doing. Once the group chat is gone, it goes to.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. It's make sure link him Matt, link file the document. Although I think the caveat is we're still hammering that out. But if I remember correctly, I wrote something in for the Fey realm. You got something in for the Spirit realm,
and then everything else is blank.
Yeah, so the details are still being kind of worked out, but like we do sort of like have at least a basic foundation to work off. Like everything is, like I said,
Has anybody been touching the material realm?
No, like, yeah. It sort of more or less operates like it normally would, because like I said, it's sort of the supernatural realms are tied to the unconscious, and it's just more like occasionally the supernatural bleeds into the material realm.
You had mentioned a dream realm earlier, correct?
Kind of. Like the Fey realm it's tied to dreams and imagination.
Well, the reason I ask is because I do, you were asking about homages earlier. I wouldn't exactly call them homages, but there are certain things that I tackle in the story in different arcs because, again, of its inspiration. I wanted to know how they would actually deal with certain things. So, as a result, one of the beings they would deal with would be this sort of Freddy Krueger-esque dream demon and how they dealt with that. Yeah, and if there is a dream realm,
you take this, I gotta take a call.
I'll definitely need to know. Since it is, I'll definitely, with that in mind, I'll definitely need to know the rules for that because the idea. I would need to know the rules for that and how it works, so that I can figure out how I can just build the story around that. While also, I do know that I want to stick by the same rules that they apply in the story, and like for a lot of killers, like so the nightmare killer would follow the essentially the same rules as Freddy Krueger.
Well, I think that there'll be a. I did have an early draft of my comic, A Dream Realm. So, for in my opinion, that's not off the table. How it goes with Brett, it'll depend on him.
I'm sorry, what? You broke up there. Can you
Oh,
repeat? For me, anyways, you did. Can you repeat?
yeah. Oh, which part did you hear?
You were talking about you have a little bit for the Dream Realm, and then you broke out from me personally.
Okay. Okay, well, I do have something written in an earlier draft, but if Brett's okay with it, I'll expand it so that we'll have something going on for the universe. And I think that in the Dobie Kroger novel that Dan wrote, there's a Dream Realm in there as well.
All right, yeah, then I'll need to know about that, so that I can write that, figure out that part, because I don't want to. Because like I said, I want to stick to the rules of Freddy Krueger, but at the same time, I want to stick to the rules of the shared universe. I don't want the characters, breaking any of the rules that y'all have established. So, because I want this to be, I want people to like read this and be like, really buy into the idea of, yeah, this is how they would deal with it, albeit they'll have to suspend some disbelief because they do go by, for the overkill that they go by for dealing with a lot of these.
Oh yeah. And then there are some that are pretty much they're so broken that from how different writers write them. Some will write them in one way, some will write them another way.
Yeah.
So, go on.
No, I was just about to say, I've not ever really collaborated like this before. I usually just stick with my own stories. I've always wanted to be a part of a shared universe, though. So I'm glad y'all decided to hear me out.
Well,
Hello?
I enjoyed. What? You there?
You broke out. You cut off again. I'm sorry. These headphones are so old.
Oh, that's all right. Well, all I've got to say is that you do have a good imagination on you. So I figure that anything that you come up with will be able to work it in.
Well, I appreciate that. I try. But so yeah, go ahead and share that with me. And I reckon if I don't mean to sound like I'm rushing out, it's just been one of those days. If that's it, maybe we can do this again on next week or something.
Sure. I told Brett that you would probably be with your job going on, you'll probably want to do it for about an hour or so.
Yeah, that's typically it because I gotta wake up early mornings these days. So,
So I shot you the DM.
oh, I think I just got. Did I get it? There it is. The other.
Yeah. So assuming that it doesn't do anything like decide that it only wants you to view it, because I set it to anyone can edit. But
yeah, don't worry, I ain't gonna edit nothing. Don't worry, I ain't gonna edit nothing or touch nothing. I'm just gonna read through it.
Well, if you have ideas, you can just add to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what? I think I'm going to add something new here.
Oops. Oh, you're writing it.
Yep. All right, so basically, I just set up a little area for anyone to add in notes for what they want to see in there, and then we can just discuss them.
All right, cool. So I do have actually an idea for another realm. Can I write that out real quick to be expounded on later?
Sure, no problem.
I think I spelled that wrong. I did.
Yep. Here I got.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I think that'd be something worth talking about.
All right. So what is it going? What's your idea for it?
It's just something off the top of my head. So let me go ahead to for later. I'm thinking something like this would be able this this would be the result of artificial intelligent. I don't know what the plural for that is, but for AIs, right? There,
Yep.
and if they became like actually sentient, it would obviously stand apart from the rest, right? So they could possibly that would possibly make this be a result of them attaining sentience, which would result in, you could argue that it would result in the creation of this new realm. But I put this question mark here because it's just something maybe to bounce around in that an idea to knock around right now.
Yeah,
But
good.
I could also see that being, I don't know, because I'm looking through these. You also would probably need you would also need that sort of fundamental one right there. Just these are just my thoughts. Feel free to throw them down or whatever. So let me go ahead and mark that too,
Okay.
because I don't want to make any like changes that y'all ain't ready for or whatever, or don't want. But those are my two ideas off the top of my head with those. This one would obviously need some more development. I could see this being a very logical place, though.
Well, Mike Whitaker in the chat asks, would a virtual realm be more precise or more apt?
Would it be, hang on, just a minute.
Okay.
Or more? Would it be more precise? I'm thinking it would be, because I kind of touch on this issue in Empyrean Skies and the second arc. This idea of computers and such, AIs. Are any of you aware of the philosophical idea of the Chinese room?
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, this isn't a philosophy class, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But based off of that idea, I always thought, let's say that idea is accurate, which I believe it is. But that if that idea is accurate, then I like the idea of programming of a guy who's like, he's been wanting to create an actual AI and make just a real true AI an actual sentient AI, but he can never tackle that, get around that Chinese room idea. So, like, he creates more and more advanced AIs, but they're never able to get around that until he eventually has this whole society of what is essentially these Chinese room robots. And they're all built and programmed in a way so that the entire society is looking to build an actual soul for them. And I won't go more into that because it will get into spoiler territory with Empyrean Skies. But maybe I always thought that if they succeeded, maybe something like this would result, where you would have these sort of artificial souls in this, and because they are machines, you would think that maybe they would be more precise, more logical, but at the same time, if you actually have that actual soul in existence, would it necessarily be that way, or does like emotion and such come along, and like, pure emotion and passion, things like that, does that come along? Is that what makes it a soul? So I don't know exactly how an artificial realm would look, but I like to think that if you had a true AI in this Jungian space idea, that it would create a separate realm, because they're born from separate means from us. So, that's just my idea. That's my logic. So maybe it would be a cross between the two.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Okay. So can I be cut up to speed, please?
okay.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. The Google Doc. We were just talking about some. I added. I was throwing around some ideas for other realms in here, if that's fine with you.
Well, basically, what's been going on is talking about the idea of a kind of around being developed with the advent of artificial intelligence, and the possibility of, once they achieve sentience, that this realm would be created.
Messed up, guys. I cannot hear anything on my end.
Oh well. Few technical difficulties.
Okay, now I can hear you. Now I can hear again.
Go ahead. Matt was telling you.
All right, all right, you guys hear? Can I have it? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, so all right. Sorry, I had a call with my dad.
All right.
Can you guys catch me up to speed on what I missed?
Well, basically, we're talking about Val's idea for setting up a realm in development where it's focused more on artificial intelligence and their approachment to sentience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the idea being that because all of these are based off of the human mental state, right? But it seems obvious to me that AI is more of an inevitability at this point. And so I was looking through these and I was thinking, with the advent of true AI, would that create another realm here? And so I put here artificial realm ? And because I don't know if y'all are gonna want to run with it or not. But the idea being that this new realm will be born from the advent of sentient, true artificial intelligence. And then I put another one here, idea realm, because I think like that would be like a fundamental thing. But yeah, we were talking about the idea of an artificial realm and what that would entail, and if things like that.
All right. So like something like a kind of virtual realm is what I'm also seeing in the chat. Also seeing in the chat.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a virtual reality like what but like an actual.
It wouldn't be like not like cyberspace.
Yeah, like it would be an actual realm, just like the other ones, but it would be created and it would be based on artificial intelligence gaining true sentience. So, like, let's say to keep it simple, we resided. Let me see here. Let's say to keep it simple, humans resided here in the spirit realm, right? But like here in the artificial realm, this would be where like the androids from Blade Runner would reside, you know?
Huh.
And so I'm not sure how that would end up working out or something.
It's not a bad idea. It's an interesting idea worth playing with. It's just playing with. I mean, like if it's an interesting idea worth playing with. I mean, like I guess the only question is, can that still fit in with the larger supernatural theme we have with the universe?
Well, I mean, because here's the thing: you could, because it wouldn't be. Here's what I was saying earlier, and I don't want to go into too much details because I do touch on this in Empyrean Skies. But are you familiar with the idea of the Chinese room, the philosophical idea?
Nah, I am not.
Right. Well, I guess I ought to explain it then. Essentially, someone was arguing. It was a debate brought up about artificial intelligence, and the idea is that if you had a man in a room locked away with an instruction book on how to write perfect Chinese, right? And someone would slip him a note underneath of the door in Chinese. And using his instruction book, he was able to perfectly write a response. And then he would slide a response underneath there. Now, for the person on the other side, it would seem like they were talking to a Chinese person, when in reality, they're sending messages back and forth to a guy who's not Chinese, doesn't know the language at all. And that was the argument for what AI is. So in Empyrean Skies, I sort of play around with this idea that because AI is something, but I play around with this idea of if there was a man who wanted to create a true AI, but he could never really truly get across this hurdle, this obstacle of no matter how realistic they looked, they were still just ones and zeros, no matter how accurate or believable they seemed to be in terms of sentience. It was at the end of the day still ones and zeros, zeros and ones. So he ends up building this whole society of hyper advanced robots, and he ends up programming all of them with the goal of creating their own artificial soul, because that is essentially what he comes to believe is the problem, is that there's no actual soul behind it all, like what we've got. There's no actual spot for them in the shared inner thought space, as it were. And so the idea is, if they actually did get that, would it create in this universe, would it create another realm? Because their origins are very different from our own. So I think it could be a perfect mixture of supernatural and sci-fi.
So that sounds like a little bit urban fantasy, a little bit cyberpunk.
Oh, deck works on a massive scale. Oh, I'm sorry, I was reading Mike's comment here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that could work in a supernatural way. But since it would also be like a mix between the two. So I think it would really help. It would really stand apart from the other realms as a result too. Be this entirely new realm.
Hmm. Matt,
And-
what's your take on that, Matt?
Well, I actually think it probably could work since Warren Ellis has been able to make it work with with combining science fiction and mythology with Injection, where he has these five geniuses take a piece of the other world and put it to a computer program to make the 21st century more interesting, which ends up basically doing stuff that's completely unpredictable. So the idea of there being of AI gaining sentience, I think that's something that's going to definitely happen in a contemporary fantasy kind of story. Since you'd have a combination of science and the supernatural mixing together.
Well, I mean, I got a friend here. I got a friend that I talked to. He's really helped me with Empyrean Skies, and he's working on his master's in philosophy with a minors in quantum mechanics, and he's really helped me build a lot of this stuff. And I think he would be perfect. He's perfect. He's written his own book series, and he in his book series Alaris, he's been able to explain. He's been able to combine the two so that people are able to do real magic with through science. If that makes doesn't make any sense out of context.
It does. It doesn't, because I already said this earlier in the AM show. I mean, like, there's a thing with Arthur C. Clarke's science fiction where, like, if the technology is advanced enough, it's basically indistinguishable from magic.
Oh no, this isn't in his story. It's not that sort of thing. They're doing real magic, but it's also scientifically based as well. Yeah, you'd have to talk to him. He can explain it much better than I can. But yeah, so like I think it could work because of my story and because of having extended conversations with him and his book series as well. And so I think if this were to be pushed through, if we were to push forward with this, he'd be a great advisor for this thing. I don't think he's interested in doing comic books though, but he'd still be, I think, a great advisor for it.
Yeah, there's even a guy I know who there's a guy I know about who really knows is really studied Carl Jung, and I'm trying to reach out to him to get it inside like one of our little writer meetups so that we can further hash this out more effectively.
Yeah. If I guess yeah, if you'd like, I could talk with him some more about it too, and see what he's been a little difficult to contact lately, but if you'd like, I could reach out to him and see if he'd be interested in going over as well. He's actually got a YouTube channel, but I don't know. I don't think it would really pertain to this. So, but yeah, those are my immediate thoughts on it. But for now, because I've got to wake up early for work tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. If you need to go, it's all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut out early. It's just
Sorry.
First I Sargon, yeah, and then I'm cutting out early. I don't
It's
need
fine.
to.
It's fine. It's fine. It's
Hey,
fine.
But yeah, how about I have a 4-day weekend for Thanksgiving, and I have every Saturday and Sunday off. So if y'all want to have me back on, just let me know. I can be on any Saturday or Sunday. So
No. Yeah, because of me and Matt's schedules, like about the only time we can really do this is on Tuesdays.
I can do Tuesday nights too, obviously, but just my time will have to be shorter on Tuesdays because again, work. So
Yep.
But for now, I hope y'all take my story into consideration, bringing it on board. Let me see. I hope Mike. I don't know. Mike Whitaker. I hope you caught my very long and extended elevator pitch for it. But yeah, I hope y'all take it on board. Hit me up whenever y'all want. That's about it. That's all I got. I'm not very good on live streams. I get very nervous.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. You're not on many of them. It's understandable. You're not on very many of them. You're usually lurking in the chat.
Yeah. So I also gotta watch my behavior because I seem to have a problem with getting banned from places. So
Is that so?
A guy with the name Delinquent in there. Who knew?
yeah, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. People can't handle a little banter these days. But
It's all right.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. I got to get ready for work tomorrow, so
All right.
I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you for having me on and hearing me out. And I'll talk to y'all when y'all next want me on.
All right. Sure. Cool.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a great. Yep. How do I?
You just close the tab. That'll work.
All right. God bless y'all.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Mike Whitaker says, trouble is his business.
Yeah. And Brian is elected to chat up with Liz instead of hang with us.
I don't blame him. I mean, come on. Chat with Liz or chat with us?
I feel like I'm second rate.
Come on now. We're all second rate compared to Liz.
I feel like a matter, okay? Well, it looks like American Carnage is about to come out, and I don't know. Everything about the outage just raises one red flag in my head after another.
American Carnage?
That's Brian Edward Hill's book. I don't know. Something about this tells me it's going to be White Guilt, the comic book.
I'm not certain. He doesn't seem like the type for that.
No, I don't know. It's just like I don't want to be that guy, but I don't know. Considering how much of an NPC Brian Hill is, I do not trust. I just feel really, really skeptical.
I don't know if it's anything. American Carnage sounds like it'd be something about school shootings instead.
I'll show you the cover and tell me if you still think that. Well?
Huh. Well. Yeah, I can see that, but... Who knows? I mean, there are people who are talking about how bad Batman White Knight would be. So...
Well, though, to be fair, based off the title, it was easy to think that.
Yeah, and also the idea of the Joker being the hero while Batman was the antagonist.
I suppose so. Yeah, but like I said, it's just like it was more like I think most of people's initial impressions were based just off the title alone.
More than likely. And it's not like it can't be anything other than a male feminist.
Yeah, true. And I don't know, just based off the cover and from what I have seen on Brian Hill's Twitter, I don't know. Like I don't care if HP is giving this her blessing. I am skeptical as all fuck of this book.
Well, to be fair, she is. She does talk to some pretty sketchy people, but I'm not going to judge.
No accounting for judgment, I suppose.
No, like I said, I'm not going to judge. There's really no harm that comes from it anyway.
Mm. Whatevs. Whatevs. It's just like maybe I'm just sick of being beaten over the head for telling me how I am the cause of everything wrong with America because I'm white.
You know, it's kind of racist when you think about it because you're Irish, so look at how people
Doesn't
treat
matter.
Irish.
Doesn't matter. I'm white.
True. And again, I'm technically white too because Asians are up there.
Yeah.
You know, despite the fact that Asians were the ones that built the railroad system.
Funny though, I mean, like I can remember, like you ever seen that one clip from Mike Whitaker says I'm a white mutt too? Huh? Do I dare ask what the other half is? But yeah. What was I going to say? There was this one. You ever seen that one clip of from that documentary called Empire of Dust?
No.
It's a Chinese guy, and he is just pissed as all fuck at this African guy about how the workers are so terrible at their job, and they were left. They were left things from the Europeans that were high technology back in the 1930s that they didn't have back in China, and he can't understand how they have managed to fuck it all up.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just. Yeah, I remember that quote, that scene just was. You look at the black guy, he goes, "Yeah, you're right," and that's how he looks in that look of shame with the Chinese guy just tearing into him.
Yeah, it's just like you guys had stuff we didn't have in China back in the 30s, around that time. How did you manage to mess this all up that badly? Like you should have, like with everything the Europeans left you should have been able to function on your own.
Well, to be fair, not everyone can handle the end of colonialism like America could.
Point taken, yeah.
And the Irish have pipe bombs.
Yes, we do. Wait, did Mike put that in the chat? Because I think I missed it.
Oh, no, I said it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were colonized by the English, and we did pretty okay.
Yeah, especially with the pipe bombs. Spread so much terror amongst the English that they no longer have outdoor garbage cans.
Yeah, true. That's true. But yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Brian Hill will surprise me and show off. Hey, you know what? Black people can be just as racist too.
Yeah, honestly, since it's not out yet, I'm just going to have to say that it's half and half. We don't really know how it's going to do or what kind of story it's going to tell, but even if it's going to be a very honestly, I have the feeling that the most competent way of doing it is to show both sides, but it's probably going to end up being it's probably going
White
to be
man bad.
it might be that, but then again, Brian Hill is not one of those super bad writers at Marvel, so
He's at DC. He's not Marvel. No, yeah.
he did some Marvel work, but I'm using Marvel as a low bar.
Yeah, that is true. It's just, but I don't know.
They can't afford Sean Murphy.
No, they cannot.
Which is funny because DC does not have the successful movies, but Marvel does.
Well, for now they do.
Yeah, I mean, Ant-Man and Wasp, oh god.
Yeah.
Although I think it's funny how I basically called it as it being the room of the Marvel movies.
That's, I don't know, somehow that feels like an insult.
The room.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an insult. That is definitely an insult to the room because, I mean, sure. The room is no man, no, Brett. White man is just privilege. We're not saying they're bad. We're just saying they're automatically the oppressors or contribute to the oppression. I've never been privileged in my life. I've been 1 month's rent away from being homeless. Do not talk to me about being privileged.
Well, apparently, even then, you're privileged because you have the ability to live there. And I'm sorry. And before we get to strike, I got to say I'm sorry, Dan. We tried our best.
Trust me, Brett. I know. I'll take your word for it, Mike. Yeah. So this, I'll say this. At least Mike has a good sense of humor. He's
It's just not YouTube that has a sense of humor.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that is true. Now here's the that idea for a that idea for AI having its own supernatural realm sounds kind of interesting on paper. I'm just wondering if it can gel with the larger universe though, because I'd rather it be consistent than have a bunch of cool ideas that don't mesh.
I'm thinking that if we do try for the virtual realm, it won't be for a number of years.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't know.
I figure that thinking about it, there's probably gonna be some paladins who will probably consider the idea of trying to meld science and the supernatural together.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. It's just I'm not a big fan of that, just because once you put because for me, what's cool about the supernatural is the mystery behind it, and science is about explaining away everything. And if you can explain something away, then it ceases to be supernatural.
Well, the idea of having something from one of the other worlds and putting it into AI, that's not there's it can work with with having mystery because we don't know how they did it.
True. That is true.
I mean, Warren Ellis has done a pretty good job of having that AI, but not explaining how it actually came to be, how the consciousness, what I came to be.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. Like, as long, I think of it more like some lying dormant, learning both realms until it strikes. Maybe.
Yep.
Like it's always existed, and it was just waiting for the right. I mean, that is basically how the Chaos Gods were made in Warhammer. Like they're just sort of like the what's the bit? Like the way the internet explains how Slaanesh was born was Slaanesh was murder fucked into existence.
Well,
because the backstory behind that is that the Eldar became so, let's just say they reached peak degeneracy, like everything, like the worst you can imagine, like, and because they had reached peak degeneracy, it had sort of brought Slaanesh into existence. And so you get the Chaos God of pain and pleasure.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to see how we can work it out.
That would be interesting. I guess it's, and I think as long as like, I think the most important thing we want to do is that even though this universe is consistent across the board, each of the books still feel like they have their own identity, because we want to avoid that sort of, I'm going to coin a term. I want to avoid Marvelization, where everything starts out feeling different, and then as time goes on, everything just starts feeling the same.
Yeah, that sounds like it works.
Yeah, that is. I doubt anyone is going to dispute that is the problem. That is one of the biggest problems modern Marvel has. That everyone it all just feels this. All the books feel the same. Like
they all feel like the same characters too.
Not just that. It's like everyone knows each other. It's like there's this massive superhero clique. It's like 6 degrees. How do I put it? It's like 6 degrees of Spider-Man or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going downhill.
Actually, maybe not. No, 6 degrees of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Oh my god, Wolverine is the Kevin Bacon of Marvel Comics.
Oh boy. Wolverine, what are you doing?
I didn't think about it. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
Mike says 6 degrees of Stark. No. I'm pretty sure Wolverine is a more apt comparison to Kevin Bacon, because, like, is there anyone who hasn't done a movie with Kevin Bacon? I mean, there's the reason that whole 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon exists.
Yep.
Because it's impossible to find someone who isn't 6 degrees removed from him. Cannot be done.
Doesn't seem like it can.
So I dare you to find someone who's 1 or 2 degrees, who's more than like 2 degrees removed from Wolverine. I'm tweeting that shit out. Wolverine is the Kevin Bacon of Marvel Comics.
Eventually, he'll become Captain America's father and tell him not to save anyone.
No, that was Kevin Costner.
Okay, yeah.
Kevin Bacon was he was in X-Men First Class. He was Sebastian Shaw.
There's way too many Kevins in movies.
Yeah.
There's also way too many Chris's too.
Also true. Yeah. But yeah, that's what we want. That's definitely when Wolverine died. That's when comics spiraled. You know, he's not gonna. I don't know. No. Actually, no. I think which came first? Carol Danvers becoming Captain Marvel or Wolverine dying?
I think Carol Danvers becoming Captain Marvel did.
No, I believe that's when it started going downhill when they handed her off to Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Yep. All because they wanted to be something progressive, but they forget that there was a black female Captain America, a black female Captain Marvel, and a lesbian Captain Marvel.
Are we talking about Pavel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, she was Captain Marvel? I thought she was Quasar.
She was Captain Marvel for a while. Then she became Quasar.
And then she turned into Martyr.
Yep. Talk about any identities.
Yeah. I didn't know about Captain Miss Marvel until I heard about Old Man Logan. Yeah. That sounds But yeah, I would say right when Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel, that's when it all went to, when it started to go to shit.
I have to say it all went downhill once all the good writers left. Because I think JMS left around 2008, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Millar, I don't think he was around as much after Civil War. I think that might have been his last story.
Mm-hmm.
Bendis is still around.
But he just kind of like there's no getting around it. Bendis is washed up.
Yep. Although I'm glad to know that he's not going to pull Mark Waid.
Which is good, yeah.
He seems too level-headed for that.
Actually, I think I take it back. It wasn't. No. Marvel Comics started going downhill before Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel. It was when they handed Daredevil off to Mark Waid.
I remember seeing that Mark Waid wrote a Superman comic where Superman suits a gun shop owner.
Come again.
It was in the Meeting of the Minds group chat where they posted a page from a Superman comic written by Mark Waid. So Superman breaking a gun out of a glass case and shooting the gun shop owner with it because the gun shop owner sold guns to a bunch of kids.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they say that Bendis is the worst thing that ever happened to Superman.
So it was because here's the reason why I say it was when they handed Daredevil off to Mark Waid, because like everyone all the readers hated Mark Waid's Daredevil run.
Yep.
But the critics couldn't stop wanking it.
Well, because Disney probably paid him off.
Well, this was going up a Razor Fist video, and I think it was something where it was either Axel Alonso or Tom Brevoort. I'm going to go with Axel Alonso because I think at the time he was editor-in-chief.
Mm-hmm.
He said this was what Waid was doing with Marvel. I mean, what Waid was doing with Daredevil. That was what they wanted to. That was the direction they wanted to take Marvel in.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's just.
And Marvel basically, one of the things that really annoyed me about Marvel was how big of babies they were about their stupidity over selling off the rights to their titles and having this giant bitch fit over not being able to buy them back. So they axed the Fantastic Four. I'm very certain they killed off Wolverine because of it. And they decided no more New Mutants, so they decided to, and then they decided to just forget about the X-Men.
Huh. Makes sense.
Yep. A giant. They're basically giant babies when it's all said and done.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like they could. Well, it's their own damn fault for selling those rights off back when they were on the verge of going bankrupt.
Yep.
Which is their fault because they made a bunch of bad business decisions back then.
Oh yeah, and that caused their downfall.
Yeah, that was like that was. They nearly went bankrupt back in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like it all feels to me like they got no one to blame for but themselves.
They don't, but you know what? They're going to be if they're going to be giant assholes about it. Might as well treat them like the babies they are.
Yeah, well, at least all the indie publishers are being much more well cool-headed about it, so to speak.
Yep.
X-Men and Spider-Man were the only things I loved about Marvel for the most part. Logan was a bittersweet movie to me in that sense.
Yeah, and you know who they got for as a consultant producer? Mark Millar.
Of course they did. They were lightly basing it off Old Man Logan.
Yep. I mean, it's not like they are going to ignore him, like say, "Oh, Captain America: Civil War."
I bet that really sticks in his craw to this day.
You know what's really funny is that the first Avengers movie is based on the Ultimates.
Huh. That is hard to believe just because it's nowhere near as cynical as the Ultimates.
Well, yeah, because it's Joss Whedon doing it, but it's got basically the same lineup with Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Thor, Hulk,
and Iron Man. About the only one missing is Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yep.
Giant Man and Wasp. Well, fuck, how do you keep anything straight with Hank Pym?
Apparently, it's hard. But then again, a lot of superheroes have had their multiple identities, such as Hawkeye has also been known as Goliath and Ronin.
True.
Which I get the feeling that the reason why they went back to Hawkeye was because of the cultural appropriation with Ronin.
Really? And it wasn't just because it was... okay, you're Asian, I'll take your word for it.
Honestly, though, I think it had more to do with the fact that they wanted to use Hawkeye in the movie, so they changed them back to Hawkeye for that reason, to capitalize off of the movies.
Not to beat it. Yeah. I'm looking at... Uh,
No, actually, you know what? Never mind, because I don't think they had much in terms of plans for the movies back then. Because it was after Siege when he went back to being Hawkeye.
and
That was
I forgot. And there was so much I missed from that era.
yeah. I mean, I I rather enjoyed the idea of Clint Barton and Bobby Morse getting back together, and then they had to go ahead and ruin Mockingbird of that awful series.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then Dan Slott killed her character even more with Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's just. Yeah, you're not kidding. From what I've been hearing, and this is an odd thing for me to say about this guy, but I've heard Nick Spencer has actually been helming Spider-Man pretty well.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
Yeah. Which is odd because he nearly butt fucked Cap.
Yeah, but I don't think anyone's going to ever forgive him for Hydra Cap.
He's never. That's the thing. That's something you never live down.
Nope.
I'm the guy who nearly made Captain America a Hydra agent and tried using the Red Skull as a stand-in for Donald Trump.
Nope.
He is always going to be that guy. Just like Brian will always be that guy who made the zombie titty bug. Although, to be fair, I don't think that really bothers him so much.
No, I mean, I'm pretty certain that if anyone complains about it, he's just going to laugh out at them in money.
Yeah. Yeah. Something like it. Yeah. That is true. That is true. Actually, you see that the Rex Patreon's nearly hit 5K.
I'm not surprised.
How much do you want to bet that thing is going to be making by this time next year?
Error 404 cannot find.
Mike Whitaker says, "Happy Thanksgiving." Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I almost expect. It would not surprise me if by this time next year, the Rex Patreon is played at 10K.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised because unless this is a big if something were to happen where people don't like where the story is going.
And of course, we know Brian. He is not going to change it.
Oh no, he's stubborn.
No, that's the thing with Brian. Once he says he's going to do something, he does it.
And honestly, I think that it's one of his best qualities.
It's a quality that's a double-edged sword, but it's served him well so far.
Yeah, I mean, I look at what happened with DC movies because the writers did not have a backbone.
Yeah, true. That
The director didn't have a backbone to stand up to the producers.
definitely no, they did not. It's just like, and you know what? Yeah, I mean, like, Brian's not. I mean, of course, Brian doesn't strike me as the guy who's going to be so stubborn that he's going to scuttle it just to spite people. Actually, who am I kidding? He is.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, who are you talking about again?
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. He would. He totally would. He was willing to nuke He was willing to nuke Rags just to give the middle finger to Comicsgate.
Yeah, yep. I remember that. I remember how much unhappiness there was.
Yeah, and now it seems like the only reason he's continuing it is now because it's making too much money, and he can't. I think he's caught onto the fact he can't quit now. Not just he doesn't want to say it.
No, no, but you know something? It's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, I know. But the way he intends to end it, that is.
I've seen the plans for how he wants to end it, and you know something? He's going. It's really gonna be interesting to see how he pulls it all off, assuming it doesn't get nuked.
Okay, I need to. I might have missed it. I think he's shown me the documents for it, but I might have missed it. You're gonna have to show this to me.
Rags to riches.
Oh, I think I still have that.
And then there was that top secret, classified document that only a certain few in the VIP of the Discord. So if you want that, you have to go to Patreon, put in money to get exclusive stuff from Rags, and do something extra for Rags, like promoting it nonstop.
Uh huh. Or having them on your or giving them an actual review.
Yeah, too. You gotta go above and beyond your support.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So yeah, here's the thing. Hmm. Hmm.
Hold on.
I'm trying to. I feel like I'm trying to. I feel like I'm going somewhere with this, but my brain just stopped. My God, it's not even 10 p.m. and my brain is already feels like it's about to shut down. Like I am. I think I need to start looking into my diet more.
Yeah. Well, if you want to hear, if it makes you feeling there, it's 11:14 over here.
Yeah, but you've got. I don't know what your excuse is, Mike. I don't feel it. I think I just look. I'm treating my body like shit, man. To be honest,
I mean, you do work the truck, right?
I do.
So I'm pretty sure that beats up your body quite a bit.
But I've had 2 days off in a row. You need more whiskey. That wouldn't be so bad. Oh. Okay. I'm kind of. I don't know what more we can talk about, so I'll I'll just close this out by wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and in honor in honor of Black Friday, I'm going to close this out with this speech. Let's see if I can find it first.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. No. It's. I know I've seen it somewhere. It's from the Hell's Reach book. It's like the opening monologue from Grimaldus. I cannot. I will die on this world. Okay. Let's. I'm having a hard. I think I might have found it. I think I might have found it. Yeah. I think I found. Yep. I think I found it. I will die on this world. I cannot tell where this conviction comes from. Whatever birthed it is a mystery to me. And yet the thought clings like a virus, blooming behind my eyes and taking deep root within my mind. It almost feels real enough to spread corruption to the rest of my body, like a true sickness. It will happen soon. Within the coming nights of blood and fire, I will draw my last breath. And when my brothers return to the stars, my ashes will be scattered over the priceless earth of this accursed world. Armageddon. Even the name twists my blood until burning oil beats through my veins. I feel anger now, hot and heavy, flowing through my heart and filtering into my limbs like boiling poison. When the sensation, and it is a physical sensation, reaches my fingertips, my hands curl into fists. I do not make them adopt this shape, it simply happens. Fury is as natural to me as breathing. I neither resent fear. I neither fear nor resent its influence on my actions. I am strong, born only to slay for the Emperor and the Imperium. I am pure, wearing the blackest of the black, trained to serve as a spiritual guide as well as a war leader. I am wrath incarnate, living only to kill until finally killed. I am a weapon in the eternal crusade to forge humanity's mastership of the stars. Yet strength, purity, and wrath will not be enough. I will die on Armageddon. Soon my brothers will ask me to consecrate the war that will be my death. The thought plagues me not because I fear death, but because a futile death is anathema to me. But this is no night to think such things. My lords, masters, and brothers have gathered to honor me. And the rest of that is just... And the rest of that is him ascending to Reclusiarch. That is me. That is me for Black Friday.
Oh boy. Yep.
So, have a happy Thanksgiving, guys, and do me a solid and don't do any Black Friday shopping.
No promises.
All right. See ya.
Bye, everyone.